report, October 29th, 2024. My apologies for getting a little later than usual, but we've had quite the busy day, as we always do here. But we're doing it here. Why do you do it so late? Well, because I have this family, and we just this is not my main thing. My family is, so I have to get all that done and everything, and in the meantime and all the little moments in between, we tabulate all this. And then we put it together, and then about 10:30 usually, unless it's a really busy one like today, we go and we come here for the crisis report. So appreciate you being here. And most comprehensive news on YouTube, because I literally just sit all day and moments in between and pick up stuff off of different areas, Twitter, Telegram, and I put it together and I tell you all about it. And we tell you the most. I mean, I don't know too many other places that are doing as much with all the intel that we're getting here. It's all open source, you know. In fact, last week you had that stolen information. I hadn't touched that with a 10-foot pole. I was worried. So we try to vet it as much as possible and put it all out there. But today, Russia, for some reason, just decided, hey, we're going to show everybody that we got a crap load of nuclear weapons, and they tested a lot of them. So that's the main title of this, and a lot more going on beyond that. So you sit back, you do your thing, you chill out, you listen, and I'm going to take you through all of the information, and there's a lot of it, and tell you all that's going on through the most comprehensive news on YouTube. All right? We're going to get started now because it is late. I usually wait till about 4 minutes in, but I tell you that on purpose because it takes people to get into the room, get the notifications and all that, and you know, I just let you know, because if you're a busy human being and you're listening to this, or you get used to with these reports, you know to fast forward to about 4 minutes. So tonight we're going to start it at about 2.5. Okay. So sit back, hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell. Here we go. Several black helicopters were spotted in Washington, D.C. tonight as militaries last night. Military helicopters took part in an evacuation training exercise near the U.S. Capitol just 1 week before the election. Putin states that Russia's nuclear forces must be immediately ready. Recent U.S. intelligence memo cautions that insider threats are expected to be a concern at the election centers on November 5th and could undermine or jeopardize a fair and transparent election process. Naim Qassem is announced as the new Secretary General of Hezbollah. Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a media statement, announced that the Russian Federation is conducting a drill to use nuclear weapons today. Additionally, Russia will also hold ballistic and cruise missile practices. Comes just 7 days before the election. Snapped Russian nuclear weapons drills simulating a mass nuclear strike across Europe and the United States were underway. Russian bombers, submarines, and other missile units involved in the drill. And it was pretty intense. We could also see some North Korean launches also in the coming days. That is always a possibility. Russian Defense Ministry showed the launches of the Yars ICBMs during today's nuclear exercise. Trump's aide, Steve Bannon, has been released from federal prison a week before Election Day. Russia captured 3 more East Ukrainian villages. Ministry. I saw a graphic today showing the advances over the 2 years. And, you know, it's about a minute long. That last 10 seconds of the video, they start chewing up all kinds of geography. And it's because in the last few months, they really have put the pedal to the metal and started to take a lot of eastern Ukraine, Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporozhye, all that. Hezbollah names deputy head Naim Qassem as successor to Nasrallah. Global police have shut down malware group targeting millions, according to Eurojust. UNIFIL says a rocket, likely fired by Hezbollah or affiliates, hit Lebanon HQ. Mideast at most dangerous juncture in decades, according to the United Nations officials. High-ranking North Korean generals may go to the Russian front line with Ukraine as Pyongyang ramps up military cooperation with Moscow, a South Korean lawmaker said Tuesday, citing intelligence from Seoul's spy agency. National Intelligence Service is looking into the possibility that some high-ranking military generals could move to frontline areas, said lawmaker Lee Seong-kyun after a briefing from NIS, according to a transcript obtained by AFP. Israel hiding its casualties, ? Israel's opposition leader Yair Lapid says since October 7, 2023, 11,000 soldiers have been injured and 890 killed. Lapid also says the IDF is concealing true casualty figures, asserting that there are limits to how much we accept alternative facts, and confirmed his numbers are accurate. EU is fueling Russian war machine with fuel imports from Russia. They have imported 204 billion euros in energy from Russia. Russia spends an estimated 363 million euros daily on the war, meaning these imports and theoretically finance 1.5 years of the war. Top EU importers of Russian fossil fuels include Germany, 28.7 billion euros, Italy, 19.3 billion euros, Netherlands, 18.8 billion euros, Hungary, 17.5 billion euros, and France, 15.8 billion euros. Iran says it'll increase military budget by 200%. Pentagon faces a shortage of air defense missiles, especially Standard missiles, as usage since October 2023 has exceeded production capacity. Over 1.8 billion in interceptors have been used to protect Israel and Red Sea shipping, often firing 2 per threat for reliability. Each Standard missile, costing millions, is used to counter far cheaper weapons. During Iran's October 1st attack, U.S. forces let some missiles through to conserve the stock. Companies remain hesitant to boost production without long-term Pentagon commitments. Iran's IRGC has threatened to launch more crushing strikes against Israel in the coming days with surprises they've never seen before. Since early October, Russia has seized 478 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory, marking its largest territorial gain since March 2022. Israeli Defense Minister Gallant threatens new Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem, saying temporary appointment not for long. UN Security Council is holding an emergency meeting on Israel's attack on Iran. Reports exist of negotiations amongst Americans, Israeli, and Qatari counterparts initiated by Director Bill Burns of the CIA. Possible ceasefire in Gaza. Current talks mention a ceasefire for 28 days, release of 8 hostages by Hamas, and the release of dozens of Palestinian prisoners. This could be beneficial as it would break the 2-month talk halt and possibly improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. However, this is unlikely to happen before the presidential elections, and Israel seems to be shifting positions amongst the leadership, considering the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently said he would only accept a deal that would benefit Israel under his own conditions during the meeting on Monday. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matt Miller said that the U.S. joins international and local observers in calling for a full investigation into reports of election-related violations in Georgia's October 26 elections. That, of course, is Georgia, the country, and not the state. Galil Hospital in Nahria report 13 injured people arrived as a result of rockets falling in Malot Tarashihba. IDF announces 900 soldiers were injured since the beginning of the ground operation in Lebanon. UN Security Council is holding its session on Palestine. The editors of Wikipedia, the internet's pile of left to far left biased texts, have now been labeled Trump as a fascist. By the way, the textbook definition, as created by Mussolini, is basically the marriage between the corporate state and the authoritarian government state to subjugate the people in a way by making it so they can only go to the government or these corporations to do the bidding of the authoritarian government. So unless Trump is doing that, he is technically not a fascist. So Wikipedia is trash. Okay? I tell students all the time, you never use Wikipedia. When I went to university, it was never accepted. It is literal trash and should not be used unless you just need a quick reference point, okay? So it has been taken over by a bunch of people that are not worried about telling you anything of information and are more looking to basically sway your thoughts and concerns into a certain political category. Irish president signs Helen McEntee's hate offences bill into law, recognizing infinite genders, imposing criminal penalties for hatred against ethnic, sexual, and gender groups. I'm very glad I visited Ireland in 2012. I will not be going back. Doug Emhoff, possibly future Jewish first gentleman, wants to post a mezuzah above the White House front door. When Kamala walks through the door, at the end of the day, the door has a mezuzah on it. Ukraine is set to mobilize around 160,000 troops over the next 3 months. Israeli forces continue their push in Lebanon, advancing through Al-Qiyam and neighboring areas. Nearly 300 buildings have been leveled in 3 square mile zones covering Blida, Machabib, and Mas al-Jabal. Multiple UNIFIL positions have also been targeted since October 10th. Romania's defense ministry has drafted a bill allowing the military to shoot down drones violating national airspace following repeated security threats from Russian drones. Draft law specifies conditions for neutralizing or destroying drones based on their threat to human life and property. Military may disable control functions or destroy drones outright depending on the threat level. Israeli Defense Minister Gallant says Hezbollah has only 20% of its missiles left. I doubt that. IDF Chief of Staff Halevi to Iran: if they launch missiles on Israel, we will know how to reach Iran again with capabilities that we have not yet used. We will hit locations that we excluded during the previous strike. So who is Naim Qassem? He is the Hezbollah's new Secretary General, long history with the organization. From the Amal movement in the 1970s to helping found Hezbollah in 1982 and decades as deputy, Qassem became leader on October 29, 2024. Hezbollah shot down another Israeli Hermes 900 UAV. Israel has consistently warned about the extensive infiltration of Hamas into UNRWA. Israel has consistently warned about the abuse of UNRWA staff and facilities to advance terror or activity against Israel. The UNRWA staff actively participated in the October 7th massacre. This is according to Israeli Amir Sarfati. In July 2024, Israel provided a UNRWA a partial list of 100 Hamas operatives employed by UNWRA in Gaza. Sorry, I keep saying UNRW. Oh, they keep messing it up. Anyway, the UN has not taken any action on the issue. Last week, one of the organization's staff members, Mohammed Abu Itiwi, who participated in the October 7th attack and attacking kidnapping innocents, hid in a bomb shelter near Kibbutz Re'im, eliminated by the IDF. Secretary General of the UN condemned the killing of this individual instead of taking action against him back in July when the list was given to the UN. Israel remains committed to its obligations under international law. In this respect, Israel is dedicated to expand humanitarian assistance to the residents of the Gaza Strip through international organizational and NGOs and that are involved in terror, and will continue to work toward achieving this aim with relevant partners such as the WFP, UNICEF, WHO, and other organizations. An Iranian website this morning published the words, "We will respond." RNC lawyers have sent a letter to Pennsylvania officials saying that voters are being denied at the polls. Austrian Ministry of Defense, 8 Austrian UNIFIL soldiers were injured by a rocket hit at the Nakura base. UNIFIL rocket was apparently launched by Hezbollah. Israeli Defense Minister Galan at IDF Northern Command, Hezbollah only has 20% of its rockets and missiles left, and even those are not organized. Iran understands that Hezbollah does not have the ability to respond, and Hezbollah understands that it cannot rely on Iran. Ariane Tabatabai, the Pentagon official who is under suspicion for leaking U.S. intelligence to Iran, has been reassigned to a new role. She will now have less access to sensitive information. And Lord knows you can't fire anyone in the government. So even though she's sharing things that could potentially get people killed, just shuffle over to another job where you and I, the taxpayer, can fund. Chief of Staff Halevi threatens Iran during a visit to the Ramon Air Force Base. If Iran makes the mistake and launches another barrage of missiles at Israel, we will once again know how to reach them with capabilities we did not use so far and hit very hard the places we left aside this time. We did it for a very simple reason, that we may be required to do it again. We have not finished this event. We are right in the middle of it. Trump's odds just set an all-time high against Kamala. Polymarket today was at 67%. She was at 33%. Chinese Communist Party saw Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as a prime target for its influence operations in the U.S. According to internal Department of Homeland Security communications, shared the same day that Vice President Kamala Harris picked him as her running mate, according to the New York Post. Catholic Church must make it easier to remove priests who have abused little ones while giving victims access to the truth. Papal Commission at the Vatican said Tuesday in an inaugural report on protecting children. Trump says he will seize assets of criminal gangs and drug cartels to aid families victimized by migrant crime. U.S. election 2024, Trump 48%, Harris 46%, last Rasmussen poll. Latest Atlas polls in the swing states show leads for Trump in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Latest Atlas polls in the swing... Oh, we got that one already. Sorry. Doubler. Trump announces major interview on the Sean Hannity show tonight at 9 p.m. Come and gone. Elon Musk on Tuesday warned a Saudi investor forum about the dangers of artificial intelligence models. He said we're woke and nihilistic rather than maximally truth-seeking. I wish Wikipedia was maximally truth-seeking. Trump media stock has soared with rise in the betting markets. Trump Media and Technology Group is now valued at over $10 billion after its shares more than quadrupled since late September. Supreme Court has ruled that RFK Jr. will appear on the battleground ballots despite suspending his campaign. Ukraine and Russia are discussing halting strikes on each other's energy infrastructure, with Qatar mediating, according to FT. We reported on this about 4 or 5 days ago, saying it might be a step in the right direction. Zero Hedge had a story on it. We'll have to see. It would be a step in the right direction if they stop hitting each other's energy, but obviously Ukraine is starting to feel the heat. Russians are chewing up a lot of geography. Blackout cripples northern Nigeria after a jihadist attack. Israeli army chief vows to hit Iran very hard if it retaliates. Israeli strikes appeared to have damaged Iran's ballistic missile production and air defense sites, affecting Tehran's ability to carry out any future strikes, according to NBC News. Commander of CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, General Kurilla, he actually called him Gorilla, I changed it and corrected it, will arrive tomorrow for a visit to Israel regarding Iran. Spy agency says North Korea is beefing up security for Kim Jong-un due to a possibility of someone trying to take him out. Extraordinary military and police exercises with helicopters at capital D.C. Helicopters on the compound exercising emergency evacuations for the day before. Iran as well as Israel confirmed upcoming strikes against each other. Shiite militants launched wave of attacks on U.S. bases in Syria. Occupation forces launched hunts after unable to protect their interests. Indian Army withdraws their ground-based troop formations from the line of actual control in the disputed Arunachal Pradesh region after agreement with China during the recent BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia. This came after years of heightened tensions in the northeastern Indian Himalayan region. Trump is Putin's agent. French general, former deputy chief of staff of NATO forces in Europe, Michael Yakovlev, has explained that what Trump's role is. Everything is obvious. He is an agent, guided and directed for 4 years, who receives instructions remotely. You know, it's funny. There's a lot of people who think that the government right now is an agent of China. I'm not saying that's true, but there are people that believe it. People believe all kinds of stuff. Scenes from Malat Tarashah in the northern sector after a number of Hezbollah rockets caused direct impacts. Information on Israel's nuclear missile base in the U.S. secret HQs were leaked. Haaretz Hebrew language newspaper said the identity and residence of hundreds of Zionist soldiers who work in spy bases and headquarters and even nuclear missile warehouses has been exposed. Action was carried out by using a security gap in a sports application on the phone of the Zionist soldiers. By chance, suspicious activities in this application were discovered by an expert. U.S. base in Harakrein, which was a secret until last year, can be seen amongst the exposed places. News. Naim Qassem has announced the new Secretary General of Hezbollah, replacing Nasrallah. Israeli media, former Northern Corps commander. We lost an entire division and need 3 additional divisions. Otherwise, we will find it difficult to defend Israel. 40 Israeli Merkava tanks destroyed by Hezbollah in 29 days in southern Lebanon. Russian President Putin said that a training session of strategic nuclear forces will be conducted with the practical use of capable crews. Russia confirms its fundamental position that the use of nuclear weapons is an extreme and exceptional measure to ensure state security. Putin stated that the nuclear triad remains a guarantor of Russia's sovereignty. Given the growth of external threats, it is important to have strategic forces ready for combat use. Practical use of nuclear-capable ballistic and cruise missiles by the Russian strategic missile forces. If something goes wrong with... anyway, yeah, it's this guy's thinking. Russian Defense Minister Belousov said that the training exercises of strategic missile forces are focusing on delivering a massive nuclear strike in response to an enemy nuclear strike. Zionists announced new strikes on Iran because of Hezbollah targeting Netanyahu's residence. In that case, the U.S. is informed and will Tel Aviv support operation because, well, Washington... Anyway, this guy's thinking. That's the problem with this guy. He does get information, but he puts his little jabs in there because, whatever. Russian strategic missile forces are ready. ICBM Yars ballistic missile from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, part of the Nuclear Deterrence Force training. Launch of the Cindisevy ballistic missile as part of a nuclear deterrent force training exercise. Russia Strategic Missile Force launched a nuclear-capable Beluga ballistic missile from the Sea of Okhotsk as part of a training exercise for strategic nuclear deterrence. Russian Strategic Missile Forces training exercise, nuclear-capable Tu-95MS strategic missile carriers took off, and the Yars and Beluga intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs, were already launched. Later, missile was launched from a Pacific Fleet submarine. Israeli Army Chief of Staff says that if Iran fires missiles at Israel, we know how to reach it again. It seems like they want to calm down the situation. I don't know about that. Diplomatic solution will be reached out of the end of disastrous ground operation in southern Lebanon. All indicators saying that the possibility is given that further escalation can be prevented. We'll see. South Korea's spy agency is verifying intelligence data that advanced team of North Korean troops in Russia is moving to the war front line, Yonhap. Possible coup underway against the Hungarian leadership. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban said that an open conspiracy against Hungary has matured within the EU leadership with the aim of changing the government. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó will visit Belarus on Friday. There will also take a part on the conference on Eurasian security, which will also be attended by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Syrian Foreign Minister Bassam Sabeh. Politico notes that Szijjártó's visits to Russia and Belarus are no longer surprising, but a possible connection with the Moscow-backed regime in Syria could indicate an improvement in relations between the parties. Pentagon, we are monitoring Iranian movements and are committed to coordinating with and defending Israel. USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier CVN-72 operating in the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility. United States Air Force MQ-9 Reaper attack UAV came dangerously close to a Russian Aerospace Force Su-35S fighter jet in the airspace of the Syrian province of Homs, where the key U.S. military base of the Al-Tanf is located. Gold price has reached a new record, $27.74.90 per ounce after U.S.-made F-35s failed during military operations against Iran. I don't know what that has to do with gold, but whatever. Ramming attack in Jerusalem. Wide presence of security forces in the scene of the accident. Israeli army rejected the claims of the media and the Israeli police and declared that it was a normal traffic incident. Okay. Jordan urgently called the Arab League to a conference to discuss common Arab response to the laws, illegal and dangerous, passed by the Knesset, which prohibit the activities of UNRWA. American journalist Bob Woodward's new book, War, alleges that during Blinken's October 2023 visit to Cairo, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi requested to meet alone. Sisi reported stating that his desire to only maintain peace with Israel. Additionally, Egyptian intelligence chief Abbas Kamel reportedly shared significant information about the tunnels under Gaza with the U.S. delegation. Al-Qassam brigades destroyed an Israeli tank with a Shuath explosive device east of Jabalia, north of Gaza. Hezbollah announced that they targeted a Merkava tank south of the town of Qiyam with an ATGM, resulting in its destruction and casualties to the crew. Wall Street Journal reports that the U.S. is running low on air defense missile stocks, facing challenges in mass production. Over $1.8 billion has been spent on interceptors fired from ships to defend Israel, training resources for potential conflicts in Europe and the Pacific. Oh, good news. The Satanic Temple has opened what it calls a second satanic abortion clinic in the United States. Wonderful. Biden calls Trump supporters garbage. Okay. Judge has rejected a GOP lawsuit challenging Pennsylvania's process for vetting overseas ballots. U.S. District Judge Chris Cooper ruled that the lawsuit his filed was too late for any changes to be made before the election, meaning the current process will remain unchanged. Colorado's Democratic Secretary of State reportedly leaked voting machine passwords online, exposing over 600 passwords for machines across 63 of the state's 64 counties, Great job, asshole. White whistleblower alleges that James Comey planted FBI honeypot spies within Trump's 2016 campaign, embedding them to travel alongside President Trump and his campaign staff on the trail. And two U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker aerial refueling tankers currently flying over eastern Iraq, and they both departed from the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Hooah. Folks, that's your crisis report. Sorry to blow through it, but I'm tired and I need to get to bed. And, yeah, some of the impatient types out there are probably happy that it went this quickly. If you're happy that it went, hit the like button. Do the subscribe thing. Okay? We're glad to have you. But we need to turn it off. So, that's the latest of the latest. Okay? Yeah, Russia's testing missile systems and all kinds of other HE double hockey sticks is breaking loose. So, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Okay? Stay vigilant. Keep prepping and do the things. Okay? God bless. Links in the description if you like all that kind of stuff. Subscribestar, Substack, Locals, all those you can join. Substack you can do free. That is where this whole thing is right here. That's our transcript. PrepperNow.substack.com. Put out a bunch of stuff on the Subscribestar on Locals today if you're into that whole thing. That's the freedom of speech bastion. But, yeah, we're doing the things, folks. Just glad to have you. So, on that note, we're going to cut her off. God bless. Stack, stock, stick to the plan. Keep it on the swivel and your powder dry. Appreciate you coming by. We'll have a Prepper Now video in the morning on our drive, and we'll see you on the next one.